Welcome to Season 2 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Good morning, Barry.
Hey, Lisa, how are you? Is it morning? I guess it is. Let me look outside. Yep, I see daylight.
It's morning on the Pacific Coast.
You know, I,
So,
I I remember a skit on Saturday Night Live. Chevy Chase, he was the weatherman, and he
yeah.
says, "And now for the weather." And he opens up the window and he looks outside. He closes it back. He says, "Dark," and continuing dark
I,
until turning light.
I remember that. That was so funny. He's the funniest actor, one of those really good ones. Whenever you watch a movie, you'll definitely have a good laugh. So that's a good line. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
welcome to the podcast, the Biz Show with Barry and Lisa. Welcome back. We appreciate all of you listeners out there.
We do. This season, season two, this is episode 4, and we've started our Business 101 series and basically the startup. And we've
Yeah.
gone through, on episode 1, brainstorming your idea, episode 2, um, doing your in-depth marketing, so on and so forth. Today, we're talking about the business plan.
Yeah, some people are like, wait, what's that?
Well,
We just dive into our ideas and we get so excited. Sometimes we forget to take a step back and maybe articulate a really true, good business plan to help you
so
roadmap through this, right?
yeah, exactly. Some people they might not need a business plan and others do. It kind of depends on your strategy, what you're doing. And I'm going to say this, actually everybody does need a business plan.
I
It's
think
in
so.
your
I think so.
best it's in your best interest to have that business plan. And the
I
reason
could,
is,
yeah, go ahead.
I say the reasons is so that you have a roadmap. You kind of know what you're doing. At least when you create your idea and you start, you got to figure out how to get to point A to B to C all the way to Z, right? Let me ask
Right.
you a question. How many times have you driven across the United States from maybe California to New York? Do you use a roadmap or GPS?
That's a very good analogy. I had to drive from California to Colorado, and we definitely had options. We had different routes we could take. And so we chose one that were comfortable with and that we thought would be exciting and a fruitful journey. And so, we stopped in different locations and explored on the way. So, yeah, I mean, that there's always options on how to run a business. So it's always going to be fine-tuned. You're the driver, you're in charge. So even if you have to pivot in the middle of the business plan, that's okay too.
Well, you probably will pivot. I mean, the bottom line is the market changes, and as the market changes, you too should change. And
Yes.
your business plan, when you write it on day one, it's your instructions on what you're going to do with the business, right? And your wants and your desires, you're going to put all that stuff in there. However, as the market
Right.
changes, you need to update, modify your business plan. Don't throw out your old one, but make new notes into the existing business plan.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we definitely have to be adaptable because, it's not like a book that you just go, oh, I'm going to start a restaurant and you pick up the book and this is what you have to do. Because everybody's different. Everybody wants, to incorporate your own style and theme and marketing and, types of food, into that restaurant. So it's definitely a time to be unique and
It
tap into
is,
your creativity side. Just because the word business is in there doesn't mean that it's only business, but there's so many things that are incorporated inside that. I know when I started the door and window company in 1994, I think it was, we did not have a business plan, Barry. We were young, we were 21, my husband and I, and we just went for it. In fact, I didn't know you then. Had I known you, we may have implemented a business plan. But we just went for it and we were very successful. But if I had this knowledge back then, just to think. So we hope you find this podcast valuable today.
yes, I hope so. And a business plan is a business plan, but you could have a life plan, whatever it is. It's basically you writing things down, getting them in writing, because if you get them in writing, you're more likely to carry them out. Let me tell you a story. I've probably written, maybe 100 business plans over, my span of 4 decades of being in management. Back when I first started, business plans were expected to be
Oh, yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of pages long and weigh a certain amount. And guess what? When you submitted a business plan to an investor or a bank back in the 80s and 90s, they didn't even read them. They just picked them up and see how much they weighed. If it weighed a lot, it's a good business plan.
Oh, I got you.
Today,
Because it's like a Bible. It's like meat. It's thick.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's how the mentality was back in the early
Our
days.
audience is going, weighs a lot. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but there's a significant change in that, in the sense now, that's an outdated approach. They're really looking now at the various stages of the business plan and also the relevance of it and your strategic values for the plan. So they actually look for the content today and evaluate that.
Yes,
But a
definitely.
big difference from 30 years ago till today, when I first started writing, man, you could just throw anything in there because it never got read. And that's just what
Thoughtful.
it is.
So
But
check it out. So yeah, I'm under your business. What are you going to need to have? A business plan, right? So
you,
they're going to
you
look
do
at the meat and the content that is explaining right now. So definitely want to create a good one so that you could get an investor that says, "Oh, yes, I'm in." Right?
right. The content is very, very important. And if you don't have the right content for your specific market or your industry that you're going into, you ain't going to
Yeah.
make it. So,
And
we talked about,
in order to secure a loan, you need one
yeah,
because
well,
you
we
want to
talked
see
about
them.
what a business plan
Yep.
is. And now, do you need one?
And these are the reasons.
Yeah.
So
And, you know, as we said earlier, yes, everybody should have a business plan because it's your roadmap. Um, but do you need one? If you want investments, you want to get loans, absolutely you need one. If you want to bring on business partners and stuff like that, you need one because
right.
it's going to attract investors. It's going to help you secure loans. Banks are going to ask you for a business plan, especially if you're a startup. Um, it
Yeah. So
helps you make informed decisions
right.
and gives you milestones that you can check your progress against.
To track progress. I'm always tracking progress with Barry when we're working on a client because I want to deliver clear expectations to them of where we are in the process and be able to communicate along the way. So it's definitely helpful to go back to the business plan, track your progress, and then check in, see where you're at in that. And if there's any delays to inform, your client or your investor of that, right? Communication is key. So that's why that's very essential.
It is very essential. And so I can't stress enough. Even if you're just a sole proprietor and you just want to open up a newspaper stand on the street corner, you still should have a business plan. And but if you have ambitions to grow this to a large multi corporation with hundreds of employees, you definitely need a business plan, right?
Yes.
And we can help you write that business plan. The thing is this, and I'm going to talk about it. I got a bonus at the end of this thing, but you really got to have a solid business plan, and I'm going to tell you how to get that. So, we talked about do you need a business plan, but what is the importance of a business plan now? So,
Right.
financial planning, right? Again,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about the components that go in it, but one of the things that do go in that is your financial forecasting, the revenues that you think you're going to make and the expenses you think you're going to have. Now, again, these are just forecasts. They might not be accurate, but it's a starting point. And then you should review your business plan often and make those changes as things get updated and stuff like that. Make them.
Yes, I mean that's the whole reason why people
I don't
still
know.
look at what are your costs going to be, how long will it take you to, make an income and have a financial forecast. So that's why financial planning is one of the major important items of a business plan. And then what else do
Right.
we have? We have
It's not.
strategic.
You do.
Um,
But real quick, just this is FYI. Anything that you put in here, it's not set in stone. It's
right.
just
Yeah.
right. It's just the guideline of what you
Yes.
think's going to happen. So yeah,
Yeah. We.
strategic planning is next, right?
Mhm. It
What are
allows
your
you to
long-term
define
goals?
long-term goals, marketing plan, marketing strategies, your target
Yes.
market. Oh gosh, that's so important. And people leave that out. They think, oh, I have this idea, and then they don't even think about their target market. So that is part of your strategy. You want to be able to sell it to somebody. So that's really important. I think we touched on that on a previous podcast. Know your
I think
target
we
market.
had, yeah, I think we had a podcast just on your target market. And even last episode, we talked about, your target market, so on and so forth. And the thing is people, they start this business, they get this great idea, they open up the doors and nobody comes.
Yep,
Why does nobody come? Because you don't know who your target market is. Who are you selling this
exactly.
product to?
Yes,
Well, I'm selling it to anybody that walks in the door. Okay, who's walking in the door?
I know, right? I've been
What
in
do
a
you
lot of
have?
businesses like that where I look around and I'm like, I don't even know what they're selling because it's just kind of like all over the map. And I don't think they really defined that, Barry. So that's a really good point. That's why that's so important.
Well, look at us, right? At InvestQuire, we have 33 lines of businesses, but they are broken down into three silos, right? Our management services, our business services, and our technology services.
Yeah.
And then there's different topics in there, right? So we've clearly defined what is what and what we do. And do we do all of them at once? No, we don't, right?
And when you're in
It's
the elevator doing your elevator pitch, guys, you want to know who your target market is and why you're so successful. You want to keep selling, right? No matter where you are,
right.
you maybe find a new buyer, maybe find a new investor, maybe find a new client. So know that.
Well, you
Important.
know, here agent. And when he first started, he was going around trying to sell insurance to homeless people that lived on the streets. And I'm like, why are you doing that? He says, well, because they listen.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
like, well, that's great. All you're doing there is just fine tuning your pitch, right? Because
Yes.
these are not your
Not your
target
client.
audience.
Yeah.
And,
And was
and
that the
so,
reason?
well, that wasn't the reason. That's what I gave him as his reason.
Oh,
He
oh,
wasn't really
perfect.
sure.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I says, look, what you're getting out of this is you're able to fine tune your elevator pitch and your sales pitch, but keep this in mind. These are not your target audience. So what you fine tune against them might not be what you're going to fine tune against your
Well, you
target
just
market.
never know either. I mean, the homeless guy could have $1 million in his backpack. Who knows? But yeah, practice makes,
Maybe so.
I'm sure you've all heard crazy stories like that, but practice makes perfect. So definitely practice on whomever your elevator
Right.
pitch. And that's where all of that time and investment really brings results. So what's
Yes.
another part
Well,
of a business plan that's important? Oh my
so
gosh.
the next,
The stuff that you don't really want to do, but you have to is the
yeah,
day-to-day operation,
the
management.
operationals, right? So the day-to-day operations, how you're going to staff it, what your inventory is going to look like, your supply chain, the CRM you're going to use, any softwares,
Yeah.
how you're going to get your setup technology-wise, computers, network, things like that.
All
That's
the
all your
boring, mundane stuff that Barry's so good at doing. I just want to snap my fingers, Barry, and just have it in place.
those things
Who,
take time.
who agrees with me? Who agrees with that? I mean, wouldn't you just like
Yes.
to skip that part and just like wake up one morning and have it all be in place the way that you want it? If that's the
Uh,
hire and best choir, Barry Best Pitch and Lisa Manifold, because we can make that happen for you. It's
all
tedious.
right. We're going to turn you into Bewitched. Can you wiggle your nose?
Halloween's coming. Let's do it.
There you go. So the last piece of this is the risk
Yes.
management part of
Mhm.
it, right? And basically, you need to define the pitfalls, the hurdles, the potential risk, and then you need to develop contingency plans for that
What
as
if you don't
well.
know?
Those are all going to go. You well, how do you know what you don't know if you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
You put in there what you do know, and then as you come up against a hurdle, come back and add that to your business plan, right?
Right.
So
Maybe you'll
you're,
learn as you go along, is the thing. Like you'll
yeah,
learn as you go, and then you'll understand that that was a potential pitfall, and then you want to put that in to be preventative next time.
yes.
Right.
I can't stress this enough. People always get this confused. I have a business plan. Okay, great. Let me see your business plan. Okay, let me find it for you. It's been maybe 3, 4 years since I've looked at it. That's dead wrong. A business
Yeah.
plan is a working document. It should constantly be updated.
Right.
And I know we get lazy, right? And it's
People
hard
think,
to,
oh, it's set in stone. And then that's why they don't even do it because they're like, I don't know where to begin or yeah. So then they don't do one at all. But
right?
like you can make changes. You can write notes on it that you've learned along the way. And every year and every market could be different and changing. So what you did last year may be totally different from your business plan this year. Or you may take some nuts and bolts and incorporate it in, right? Whatever was the successful for you.
Exactly. I mean, when we're talking about the operational staffing levels, right? Take a look at, society, the market, the unemployment rate. Those all are moving targets, right?
Yeah, that's ever changing.
So, and then you and your management style might not be conducive to some of your employees and working with them, and they might quit, move on, and then you got to go back and rehire. So there's a lot of different moving parts. It's like a cog in the spoken wheels, right? So it's a gear that keeps turning and grinding and grinding.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the components and the topics that need to go into a business plan.
So this is
Now,
like your
there
table of contents.
your table of contents with all the detail behind it, right? But there are standard things that banks and investors look for.
So take
So we're going
notes,
to
you guys.
take your notes. We're going to give you 9 things that have to go in there. There might be a few others that are geared specifically to your industry, but the 9 things that are a must to have in there. Let's start with
I
number
just want
one.
to, okay.
Go ahead. No, go
Well, I
ahead.
just wanted, okay. I just had a thought and I'm like, I wanted to get this out there because we're just to back up on the risk management. Some businesses really need a consultant to discuss that with. And then when you take a step outside of the business, like somebody neutral third party, like, us, we could provide consulting for a business to discuss your risk management and give you like this overall view of it instead of being in it when you're kind of like in the middle of your business, you really maybe cannot identify that. So we do consulting as well. I just wanted to mention that because that's a huge thing that people are like, okay, where do I pivot part of my business? So we can consult with you on the risk management and help you, further explore options to, pivot your business or whatnot. So anyway, I just wanted to back up a little bit, but we can continue with the items that should be included in your business plan. Barry, go for
That's
it.
that's a great commercial, Lisa, and we absolutely can help you.
Yeah,
I've written, like I said, a minimum of a
I
hundred,
know.
if not more, business
I
plans.
know.
And I'm going to mention this again at the end of the podcast because I have a little bonus thing in there for you, but that's going to be important. But let's
Okay.
talk. The first thing that you need to have in your business plan is the executive summary, right? And that's the overall or overview of your business, right? It kind of includes your mission, your vision, your key financial projections and stuff like that. Now,
Right.
it's an overview. We're not looking for the detail there. We just want to kind of summarize what the reader is about to read in the business plan. There's going to
Yeah.
be specific topics on this that you're going to go into great detail.
I think that's a crucial first step because when you like identify that for yourself internally, I think you're connecting. And then all of the other steps are going to flow out from there. Because if you know what your mission and vision is, then all the other steps of the business plan should just flow naturally and should be ignited by that. So that's why that's such an important first step.
It is an important first step. It's an overview, right? And typically, when you're creating an ideal, that's all you have in your head too is an overview. This is what I kind of want to do. Okay, great. Put it on paper, and then we will expand it as we go along. To the next step is okay. What's your job? What's the company's description? What's it do? What's its function? Is there any history to this? And that history might not be the company's history, but it might be your history involving in the product or the service or whatever the case might be, right?
Right.
And then you're going to also define
Market
the
analysis.
legal structure, the
Oh, yeah.
legal structure, whether it's a sole proprietor, partner, S corp, so on and so forth. And then if it's partnership or corp, who's involved in it, things like that. And then you're
Sometimes you
also
may
going,
structure that later too.
it may be ongoing. In there, if you do have other people, you want almost resumes on each one of them, their job descriptions and their experiences of what they do
Exactly.
against that job description. So
Yep.
you want
So
to make
everybody
sure
can
that you
identify
include
with
that.
what their role is and there's no confusion later. And they're not like, well, I wasn't told to do that. So that's so important when hiring staff, giving them a job description in writing.
Well, it is for the job description, sure. But let me mention this. An investor, when they're going to invest in the company, they want to know the management team. Who is the management team? What is their experience? How are they qualified to do the job that you're putting them in to do?
Right.
There's a lot of time investors will come in. It's like, okay, sure, I'll invest in your company, but you're going to get rid of the CIO that you have, and I'm bringing in a CIO guy because the guy that I got's better than your guy. And your guy doesn't, I'm looking at his experience. It just doesn't line up with what you're doing. That's happened. I've seen that happen many times. And it's not just the CIO. Sometimes it's the CFO. Sometimes it's even the CEO, right? It's like, look, you're the founder of the company and stuff like that. And actually, it's a lot of times, but you're not going to be the CEO of the company. Right. Because you don't have the qualifications to run a company of this magnitude. As a founder, you're going to be sitting on the board and you're going to make decisions, and you might have a title within the company, but you might not be the guy in charge. And typically, if you go into VCs, the VCs are the ones that get in charge because, hey, they got the money, and they're going to say, fine, I ain't giving you the money unless you do this. That's why I don't like working with VCs, because VCs, they come in, they want to take charge, make decisions that they have no clue about. Rephrase that. Not all VCs are like that, but a lot of and a VC is a venture capitalist. They want to turn around and make money on their investment. So in 2 years, they want to turn around and sell the company, or at least their shares and everything of it for a 5 times, 10 times X, whatever they invested in.
Yeah.
So the next is market analysis, right? We talked a lot about market analysis.
Did on the last podcast, so you guys should check it out. It's season 2, episode 3. We did dive into that very deeply with some detail. So that was what we also touched on a little bit earlier on this podcast, knowing your demographic, target market, the trends, the competition, the industry. Yeah. So an analysis, but you're going to be putting that in writing in this section. So we should move on to organization and the management of your company. You kind of talked about that previously.
That kind of goes hand in hand with the job, the company description, and so on and so forth. But it's the organizational structure, right? The management team and the personnel.
And that may be ever changing too, depending on how successful your business is. You may have to expand your management team. Service and product. I mean, that's really important.
Is the biggest. That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. What services are you providing, or what product do you have that you're going to sell?
I think a lot of investors skip all that and they go straight to that, and then they go back and read the other. So, yeah, what are we selling here, right?
Yeah.
The benefits of it. What does it do? Why? All of that. So, efficiency. Yeah.
The next one is very important too, the marketing and sales strategy. That goes hand in hand with the product. So once they understand what your product is, how are you going to sell it? How are you going to get it to market?
Yep.
And then the big
and we have financial projections. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. The pricing structure.
That is your pricing structure, your balance sheet, your cash flow. Those are all the things. Again, if you're a startup, you don't know what those are, so you're going to guesstimate. But it's important to know, at least have some type of a baseline to start with.
Right. And then the funding request. So you're going to identify the amount that you need when you're
yes. Yeah. So what you're going to put in there is how much money you need, right? So this is, a part that the banks and investors are going to look at and stuff like that. You're not specifically gearing it to them. You just say, look, I need this company, but I need $5 million to get it started. And then you're going to break it down as to what the $5 million is for.
Right. And then the next part of your business is the appendix. So you would put any research documents, supporting documentation, pricing,
permits, resumes, licenses, any of that stuff that you may have. Those are just support documents that go in with the business plan.
Projections, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So and then who's going to see this?
Yeah.
Who are we giving this to? Are we going to share it with anyone?
Yeah, investors, right? If you want investors, you're going to want to look at your
partners, right?
Partners, lenders,
management team.
and maybe your key employees, and I say key employees like your C levels, right? So your COO, your CFO, your CIO, it's important for them to know where,
where you're headed, what your ideas are, what is going to make this business
yeah,
be successful. And then they could, provide you maybe some feedback and say, hey, what about this? Or, okay, I'll tackle these responsibilities to get this started. So it's very important to share it with your management team.
it is absolutely to share it. And you might want to have two versions. One, you might want to scale it back for them, or just create give them the executive summary and the company description, and then
Right.
maybe the product and the sales and marketing strategies. They don't need to
Got
see
it.
every single thing about it, but give
Yeah.
them the other than your CFO. Your CFO probably needs to see all of it.
So you wouldn't necessarily give it to all of your employees, but maybe the key employees, right?
No, no, not all your employees, just like I said, your C levels.
Right.
So the next thing really is, we talked about who should see it, right? But when should you review your business plan? Constantly. You always hear out there, oh, go view it once a year.
Oh,
No,
like
don't
for,
go view it once a year. I say view it once a month.
do you know whether you're keeping, track with your goals, right?
I've
Or
told
you,
all of
yeah,
my clients that have businesses, what's your daily nut? And they kind of look at me, what do you mean? I'm like, how much money do you need to make today to break even? And then how much money do you need to make today to be able to be profitable? And they kind of look
right?
at me with a little question mark
You're
above
like,
their
oh
head. They're
my
like,
gosh, I don't know.
I'm like, how do you know what you're going to close your books at the end of the month at and be profitable or in debt if you don't know how much you need to do? And if you don't know how much you need to do, or if you do know how much you need to do, but you didn't hit that target, then how much do you have to do tomorrow, right? So you
People are
stay on
so
top of it.
scared. Yeah, a lot of business owners are scared to look at their numbers, or they feel like they're not doing well, but it could be a pleasant surprise to look at your numbers. That's happened to me in real estate. I was like, wow, I really did all that. Oh my goodness. So give yourself a pat on the back and it'll help you stay motivated.
Yes. So the next thing is, we talked about when you look at it and modify it. Absolutely, yes, modify it. you know, there's going to be market changes. You're going to have to make pivots. There's going to be unexpected challenge and unforeseen obstacles that you need to hit. So make sure that you do, make changes to it as needed. So let me talk about a bonus. I told you I was going to give you a bonus here, right? How should you create a business plan, right? You can try and create one yourself.
Hire
People,
Investquire.
well, yeah, exactly. But that said, let me kind of go through the process, right? Who should you hire, and should you do it yourself? I've
Yeah.
seen so many bad business plans from people who have done it themselves, and they don't know what they're doing. They've Googled a few things, and they've thrown some stuff out there. That's not going to get you funded. Banks are going to
Yeah.
look at that and throw it in the garbage can. Investors are not even going to look at it. They're just going to go, what the hell is this? And throw it in the garbage can.
Oh, yeah.
So there's experienced writers, right? And there's a couple different types. There's freelance writers, which are okay if they have the experience of doing it. And then there's consulting firms like us, right? But, prices can range drastically depending on the scope and, any additional things that need to be added in. But if you're looking at a freelance writer, you're probably looking to pay anywhere from $500 to $5,000 to write a business plan
That
for you.
depends on the size of the business, Barry. Like, why is there such
It
a large?
does. It does. And then if you're hiring a consulting firm, it could start about $2,000 and go all the way up to $10,000, $15,000. Again, what are you paying for? You're paying for experience. You're paying for people that know the market, who track the market and look at
Do
the
all that
day-to-day
research for you.
trends. Yes. So you're not just having somebody write a few words on a piece of paper and say, okay, here's your business plan.
Oh, there's
But
a lot more.
I see that all the time, and I just shake my head and go, "You're not going to go anywhere. All you're doing is fooling yourself."
Yeah.
You know, um, the old adage goes, right? You need to spend money to make money.
Well, some people write a business plan similar to just a mission statement. This is my idea. And they leave out all of the stuff that we just mentioned. So,
Yes.
but behind all of that is the research, right?
But if you do leave all that out, then don't expect to get any external funding other than
No,
maybe some families or friends or something like that, right?
right.
Only because the legitimate investors and banks, they're not going to give you the time of day. They want to see something that has been thoughtfully planned out and researched and put in place.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps up today.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. Hopefully you got something out of it, and we can always forward you these tips to your
Yes.
email, text us, and glad to sit down with you and discuss your business plan.
Absolutely. Don't forget, we can help you. So how can you reach out to us? You can find us at the Biz Show Facebook group. Lisa and I are there. Also at investquire.com, right? That is our company. And we're more than happy to help. So you guys have a great day. Thank you so much. And we will be having some more conversations going forward on this topic next week.
Yeah. Be successful. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
To access our podcast notes, please contact Barry or Lisa at investquire.com or join our Facebook group, The Biz Show, and request them there.